Wow. Welcome again to Wordzone. Wow. And happy new month. Happy new month to everyone who is watching us. This is Wordzone. I'm your guest, Ola. I'm your host. I'm your host, Ola Olaleye. I was away last week, so I'm getting into the rhythm again. And I have with me my friend and sister in the Lord, the woman of God on fire. Yes, this amazing woman of God is joining me today, Gertrude, and we're going to have a swell time. I promise you, if you're watching us live, thank you, welcome. If you've not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. On Wordzone, I showcase Christians who are doing stuff outside of the four walls of the church, who are not necessarily pastors or title holders, but they are pulling down strongholds. Yeah, in the marketplace, they're doing amazing things. So go ahead and share this broadcast and let other people join us. The more, the merrier. Okay, so to my guest, welcome, Gertrude. How are you doing, woman of God?
I am doing very well. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm basking in His grace.
I can see that.
Awesome. We're going to have a swell time today. The next 1 hour will be transformational for someone. And you are going to go away motivated and empowered to take on any devil. All right. So sit tight, fasten your seatbelt as we take this ride. Okay. All right, Gertrude, I'm going to ask you that my guests would want to know, my viewers would want to know who you are. So, in your own words, I would like you to introduce yourself to us. Go ahead.
First of all, I have to say I am really grateful for you, woman of God, Pastor Ola, for giving me this opportunity to be on Wordzone, and I don't want to take this for granted. Uh, who do people say I am, or who do I say I am? I am a conduit of
You, re-
hope.
you reminded me of the question Jesus asked his disciples. Who
Yes.
do men say I am?
I would say I am a conduit of hope,
Wow.
and from the conduit of hope, I am a poet reformer.
Hmm.
I am a mother of three, and I have got a beautiful grandson, Benjamin.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. That was brief, but I know we're going to unravel that conduit of hope. We're going to unravel that. All right, woman of God. I met you a few years ago. Over 10 years now, I've met you, and I've, I've met you. You love God, you're on fire for God, and you have beautiful children who are also God lovers, Christ representers as well. Could you tell us a bit about your self discovery journey? I know your testimony is going to challenge a lot of people tonight, but I don't want you to go very deep. I want us to be, we'll be going into the ocean, but first of all, we'll go on ankle length, then we'll go to the knee, then we'll, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I want you to tell us how I know if I tell you how did you become the Gertrude that you are today, that's you. I've set you loose. But we're just gonna leave it to however you want to start. Could you tell us a bit about your self-discovery journey? How did you become this woman of God that you are today?
I would say I come from a family. My mom is a strong, devout Catholic. My dad, who is late now, was a Muslim. And myself, I became a born again, I think around 1993. And the story that made me to know Jesus Christ is because my marriage was so turbulent. And I met this wonderful woman who told me to say, if you want your marriage to be restored, Jesus is the answer. So I came to Jesus Christ in 1993.
Mm.
But the Gertrude you see today, I think she has become a better person than maybe the time that she came to know Jesus Christ. And I would say I've become a better person after my husband of 18 years, who passed away in 2012. It was
Wow.
after he had passed away that I would say that I became a better person. I became a
Wow.
better person in the way that previously, if I meet you, you do anything crazy, I'll just discard you as a rotten fish. But this time around, once your heart is broken, your heart is broken because of pain. The man that you loved, the father of your children, is gone. There is no any other place that you can go other than to go back to God. So I had to go back to God, and God made my heart tender. And it's that tenderness that God has made, brought after. It was a journey. If I can just maybe make one comment on that one. I think there's in the Bible, Jeremiah 29, verse 7. I used to hate that verse. If somebody had brought it to me, I think I was going to shove it on their throat, because I was like, I screamed. I think after the burial of my husband, I screamed. I said, where are the plans now? You have to tell me which good plans can come out of widowhood. So it was that very same question which I encourage people even now. That was the start of the journey. I had to ask God to say, tell me who I am again, because I came to you as a God who restores marriages. Now I want to know who you are. So it was the start of asking that question that made me who I am now, who I call myself a conduit of hope, because he had to give me hope to become who I am today.
Wow, that was so beautiful. So you asked God, where are your good plans? I know that verse, Jeremiah 29, verse 11, says, the
Mhm.
plans that I have towards you are thought of good and not of evil, to give you a hope and a future.
Yeah.
And your husband died. I know him, I met him. He died, and your husband of 18 years,
Mhm.
he died, and you now had a decision to make,
Yes.
whether to keep believing that there are good plans
Mhm.
or to just walk away and say, man, I'm not bothered about these good plans because what has happened to me does not look like a good plan. But you
Mhm.
said something very interesting. You said it was after the death of your husband, even though you asked questions, because sometimes in church we're told, oh, he's an unquestionable God. Yes, he's an unquestionable God, but you can ask questions.
Mhm.
Because even Jesus asked questions on the cross.
Yes.
He said, Father, why have thou forsaken me?
Mhm.
And like one of my mentors said to me when I lost a pregnancy, she said to me, she said, there are some questions that we might never get answered, or he will give us the answer will be clearer in heaven, because Jesus, there's no record of anywhere God answering that question, why art thou forsaken? And I like what you said, and I want us to take us deeper in that journey, because I know that that's the journey that has brought you to where you are right now. That journey of losing your husband.
Mhm.
But before we get to that journey, God restored your marriage, right?
Yes.
So tell
Yes.
us about it. It was when you started enjoying the marriage, then the man
Yes.
left. Oh
Yes,
my God.
yes.
Tell us more.
Okay, so we got my story is a story of restoration. So we
Hmm.
started dating myself and my husband. We started dating in the University of Malawi, and that time both of us were not Christians. And I became pregnant, and the first son that I have was born out of wedlock. But God has done a wonderful thing with his life because he's saving now. He's
Oh
one
yeah.
of the leaders in the church. And then it was after I had him, then I met the woman that I talked about who introduced me to Jesus Christ. But because both of us were young, I was 22, my husband was 25. And we are still, that's the prime of life. And he was in
Yeah.
third year, myself, I'm in first year. So I got pregnant, I think, when I was in second year. Took 1 year out. My husband finished university, took me in, but we are still very young, very naive. And I mean, you have a baby, and that's the time that you want to enjoy life. So it was hell. I don't want to lie to you. I wouldn't say that my husband was the waste, but what I can comment on that one was the response to the challenges, because people have argued to say 90% can be the problem, but is that the right way? No, 10% can be the problem. 90% is the response. So if the response is bad, you're gonna drown in the challenges. So that's exactly that was happening to me, because my husband used to drink and I couldn't handle that. And there was a lot of influence because we were so young. So it was turbulent. And I have to the glory of God. It was only when we came into the UK in 2002, and the Pastor Faithful Abel and the Pastor Ernest Abel, who that time Lighthouse Ministries, I think they've changed their name now. We just became, I think I knew Pastor Faithful first, and we just became friends, and we started praying together, and we started trusting God together. And Pastor Ernest used to tell me to say, do you know what? No matter what, I see your husband becoming a born again Christian. I see your husband being a leader even in the church. And to the glory of God, when Pastor Ernest became the pastor, I think this was 2000. It's a beautiful story, but I will not go a lot into that. I think 2003. It was him, my husband, who said, let's go and watch the ordination of Pastor Ernest, and went. The second week, he was like, we have joined this church. And I have to testify to say, me, I prayed, I said, we have been going to different churches, and it's him following me. This time I want to follow him. So when I followed him, it turned out to be a beautiful story, because he was now the one leading it. And we were planted into the church. Both of us were leaders up until the time that my husband passed on. But I have to say, I recommend highly Pastor Ernest and Pastor Faithful. It was there. Pastor Faithful is an encourager, prayer warrior. Pastor Ernest is a man of integrity, a man of excellence. So holding us and helping us, we are part. In fact, he is part of our story. We can't cut our story. We can't take away Pastor Ernest. He will always be with us wherever we're gonna go, myself and my children.
Wow, wow, that is so good. I'm gonna have to send a text to Pastor Faithful today to tell her that, woman of God, you are highly recommended. Hallelujah. I love her a lot. She's an encourager. She was one of those people who encouraged me when I started out. She's really an encourager. Hallelujah. So your husband came to the Lord Jesus.
Yes.
God beautifully arrested him. And we thank God because thank God he slept in the Lord.
Yes.
Because as Christians, we don't die, we
Mhm.
transition.
Mhm.
So he slept in the Lord. And
Amen.
could you tell us how? Because I know you and I had a chat after he died.
Yes.
Could you just tell us what now happened after his death? What I know you've told us that it was after his death that your heart has become more tender.
Yes.
Before it was warrior.
Yes.
So what happened? Because I know that for those who are watching us, this is Wordzone, and this is where we showcase Christians who are doing stuff outside of the four walls of the church. And I
Mhm.
have with me Gertrude today, who is a fantastic woman of God. She has a ministry um, up in Malawi or down in Malawi, whichever way. She has a ministry down in Malawi, and I just want you to listen because her story is very inspiring. And one of the things she has not told us is how old she was when her husband died, because that is another, man, that is hard. But God has sustained her and her three beautiful children, and now she has a handsome grandson, and many more are coming. Many more are coming. All right, so tell us, so what was the journey like? What happened after your husband died? And just let us in.
So let me tell you the funny story now. This was so funny. The start of grieving. So my when we went home, Pastor
Hmm.
Ernest graciously took us back home, and Pastor Ernest is the
Home
one
is
who
Malawi, right?
yes,
Home is Malawi. Okay, yeah.
yes. So he was the one who buried my husband. God bless his heart. So by the time that we are coming back, Pastor Faithful has organized women have prepared food for us. I think it was a Friday we came back home. So we were okay. The house is tidy and we just ate and because we were tired, we just jumped into bed. So Saturday, Saturday we woke up. This was so funny. This was the start of grieving. That's why I'm bringing it in because the time that he has passed on, I think God numbs our heart. So you are in a survival mode, like a pirate mode. Reality hasn't hit. So this Saturday was like, now reality has hit to say, oh, he has passed away. Yes, he has. So what made me to realize to say he has passed away was I went to the kitchen. And this is what my husband used to do for maybe 5 years of our marriage before he passed on. I used to tell him to say Sunday is not a day for a woman to cook. Sunday is a family day and you have to take me out. And my husband was like, we can't afford every Sunday to be going out. So he devised a thing, he will prepare chicken. He will grill chicken maybe Friday or Saturday or Sunday night. So he would do that so weekend we'll have chicken. So the first Saturday, I woke up and I go to the kitchen, there's no chicken. So I remember going and touching the woman. I was, oh God, there's no chicken. And that was it. Can I say that is the small things that widows miss? And it might not be necessarily I know that a lot of people would want to help physically, and I don't rule that one out, but believe you me, it's a very very small things that widows struggle with. I think it's the emotional and it's the psychological aspect of things, which if it's strengthened, it helps the woman, the widow, to handle her physical world. So when my husband died, that was the question. When my husband passed on, we have come back from Malawi. I had to sit on the table, and I was like, God, 40 years. I was 40. That's the prime of our marriage. And I'm planning to go to university to study a master's degree. I used to be a palliative nurse. So I am planning to go to university. And my husband was 42. That's when he dies. So that's when I sat beside the table. And I looked around. At least now there are programs that helps to me. I was looking specifically for widows. But I have to say that by that time, even in Scotland, there was no group of widows where you can go to and be part of peer support. So I remember sitting on the table and I was like, God, this is what I used to see my marriage. I was like, it was a trophy. You worked on it and beautified it and put it on a display. Now you go and get that and just break it. I wouldn't say that I was angry with God. I was disappointed. I think I don't know whether
mm,
that can be the difference, but I was disappointed in God. How do you break the thing that you have worked on? Because I think it was 10 years before our marriage settled down from the time that we were married. So you are enjoying that benefit. The children, and my son was going to university. So I started asking God questions. And woman of God, and all those who are listening, this is what I would say. Just like we ask for bread, the Bible says, and this is for every person, whether a Christian or not a Christian, asking questions is a very first start of grieving. In fact, I've written like an online course that I want to develop, which I say ask. Basically, it's ask. So ask, seek, and knock. So today I'll just maybe share a few. I will not go into all the details. So ask. The very same way we ask God bread. That's faith, isn't it? Or you ask God for a job. That's faith. You ask God for maybe pregnancy. That's faith. It's the very same faith that we asking God to say, God, in fact, why? For me, that's the start of grieving. But that's not the place to stay. Because if you stay there continuously, it becomes chronic grief. You go
mm,
into you go into self-pity. So it's a start. And the asking, why is it very paramount to ask questions? God has to reveal himself. We are not
mm,
asking for why, continuously, why did you take my husband? No. But God, what am I going to do with this pain? What are you
mm.
going to do with this loss?
Wow.
So that's why it is very paramount to ask those questions. And even if
Wow.
you are not a Christian, that's a place of reflecting and meditating. You
Mm,
can meditate, you can ask questions, you can put an empty chair and start asking questions, you can pretend like you're speaking to somebody. What is this pain going to come into? And for Christians, that's when God reveals himself. So for me, my first place was Jeremiah 29. What are the plans? And then God gave me Hosea 2 verse 15. This place of pain gonna turn into a doorway of hope. And
mm,
that was a struggle because I had to combine the two to say, hope, hope in a foreign country, 3 children. Are you having a laugh? God, you must be having a laugh. But I would say this. Every time I ask God a question, I wouldn't say pretend that I prayed. I mean, every day. No. Sometimes it's just, Lord, I'm here. Take care of my children, and that's it. And sometimes I'm here, God. That's it. Yeah. But one thing that I didn't do was not to walk away from God. So I thought
mm,
I'll cry, I'll rant. There are times, let me tell you another funny story that I used to do. So I remember, I think this was the first year, second year. So I would wait for the postman to drop our mail, and the place is quiet, and I was full blindsided. Then I started screaming, God, you have to send the money now, not tomorrow, but now. I can't be single, I can't manage, I can't afford it. Then I'll start crying. And when I cry, then I'll go and say, God, there's no any other place that I can go. So I'll still depend on you. So it was that kind of thing. And it was that, if I can move it forward, it was those questions when I asked God. Uh, God gave me now Jeremiah 18, where it says, I am the potter, you are the clay. While the pot was in the hands of the potter, it got marred. So me, I would go to God and say, God, look, my husband has died not because we walked away from you. We still believed you. We still trusted you. So my husband has died in the Lord, has died in you. So you have to make these broken pieces again. Here they are. So that time, what was revealed to me, so I would say, like I wake up in a day, I'll say, today is pain that I want to surrender to God. So I'll say,
mm.
God, today it's not prayer, it's not warrior, it's not dancing. Today is pain. So I say, Father, I put the pain in the offering. Tomorrow
Wow.
I put bitterness. The other day, I put shame because believe you me, when a husband dies, you feel like you're a loser. How does a strong born again Christian loses a husband, because people come and say, for me, I had to pray. For me, I had to fast. And God answered, no, 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 no. It's just sometimes the kindness of God that He'll come,
Hmm.
because us, we did all that. We prayed, we fasted. My husband, for 7 months when he was unwell, we used to wake up in the morning, I think 7 o'clock. I'll prepare food. I'll prepare. I had to watch whatever he's doing, give him medicine. Then the children will go to school. By that time, our son, our youngest, was 3. So when they go, the older ones go to school. We pray. We start praying. By the time that they come from school, we are praying. We are encouraging one another. People who are coming to visit us, they are coming to visit us. Then we will be with the children from 7 to 1 o'clock in the morning. We used to pray, and our marriage became better. I have to tell you, 7 months that he was unwell, we became so close. We prayed together. So we did everything. But one thing that I would say is, I've realized to say, do you know what? By the end of the day, it's not our work that saves us, but it's when God
Hallelujah.
says, no matter what, even if it's the witches or wizards who have caused the illness, or just the demonic world, or bad things that happen, I am a believer that God has to open that door to say, do you know what, my daughter, now time has come for you to come. So the enemy doesn't have the power over us regarding death. God has got the power over us, that He opens the door for us to come in. And that's our time. No matter how we pray, no matter how, and I'm not saying we shouldn't pray, let us pray, but it's not our works. That's what I want to emphasize. So it was that revelation, that walk. I mean, if I can just finish on this one, it was that asking of questions. Everything else that I do now, it came from that revelation, because it was a journey. God started to reveal. So it was ask, then I had to seek. So the seeking was to seek God, to seek the help of friends, to seek in me what is stopping me to move forward in terms of grieving. And maybe I will not have a time to comment on this one. I am one person, when I hear that somebody has passed on, I quickly pray and say, Father, push the grieving away so quickly. Why do I do that? I also receive the revelation to say, okay, if we ask David asked God to say, come quickly and save me, can we not do the same to say, Father, accelerate the grieving process so that the person doesn't stay in the same place for a long time? So
Wow.
that's what I do. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. You've shared a lot there, and honestly, it's quite touching, and it's powerful to see you sharing this with a smile. It's obvious that you've actually dropped the pain in the offering basket. That is
Yeah.
powerful. I've never done that before. I think it's something I have to start doing, to drop my shame in the offering basket. When you feel bitter, when you feel sad, just go drop it in the offering basket and hand it over to Him. Wow, that is so powerful and practical. It's something that people should do.
Yeah.
So you're not here. I know storytelling is really the in thing right now all over the place, but you're not here to hear stories. You're here to witness what God has done. This is the transformational power of God we're talking about here. And hearing the story of Gertrude is really an amazing one. And I know that you've not seen anything yet. Honestly, you've not heard anything yet, because this woman of God, after her husband died, she was 40 when her husband died. And after her husband died, she wanted a man.
Yes.
She wanted a man. This woman is
Now,
hot.
now,
She
now.
wanted a man now, now, now. She was
Yes.
telling God. So
Yes.
there's nothing wrong to tell God, come and send me a 6 pack.
Yes.
6 pack man. Nah, I don't want him short. I don't want him too tall. I just want
Yes.
the right size.
Yes.
you know. But God said, "Come on, I've got so much in store.
Yes.
Get on with it. I've got a lot in store with His loving arms, you know." And that's the thing about God. He's not holding a hammer.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of picture that they've painted to us about God. You will think if you tell God, God, I'm not feeling it today, man. I'm not feeling it. God is going to say, how can you say that? How can you say you're not feeling it? But
Well,
God says, okay, so can we talk? Can we talk about it?
yeah.
You know, that's the kind. And do you know, every time, woman of God, let me say this to you.
Mhm.
Every time I lead prayers, especially in my women's group, that I lead prayers,
Yes.
and I tell people to pray that they experience the love of God, I always cry. I don't know why. I get very emotional when I say that. And it's because, you know, you get to a level you don't even know how to explain the love of God. You can't. And I'm one of those who believe that nobody can explain the love of God to you,
Yes.
because they would only explain the love of God from their own experience of the
Yes.
love of God.
Yes.
And it's going to be, subjective, because it's their own experience of the
Yes.
love of God. But
Mhm.
what I always ask people to do is that they experience the love of God for
Yes.
themselves. The love of God is so liberating once you experience it. So if you're here today and you don't have a relationship with this God we're talking about, Jesus, this is the best time for you to have a relationship with him.
Yes.
He's the one that gives hope even in the darkest of situation. You think, oh, what am I doing with my life? It just brings that hope in. And you are there. There's a way you begin to feel like, oh, I can take the world
Mhm.
because of his presence. And that's what we're experiencing from your story tonight. And I know your story is going to bless a lot of people. Another thing that amuses me and I love about you is your sacrificial, your selfless mission. You said something, you said you always tell, when you hear someone has passed on, you always pray that the Lord will accelerate their grief.
Yes.
And one of the things you do, you don't just pray, you also support, because I know you support widows in Malawi. Were you doing this before your husband passed, or was it as a result of that propelled you? The death of your husband propelled you to start doing that. Can you tell us about the mission in Malawi? Thank you.
Um, what I want to say, I can just go briefly to one comment before I answer your question, is asking God questions. He is fine with it. What God
Yeah,
is not fine with it is when we complain.
yeah.
There's asking questions and there's complaining. And for me, I think one thing that God had to use, really, what can I say? Like, he had to be tough on me for me to move through my journey. Because every time that I complained, like I remember this other time I liked the transport, and I was complaining. I was like, this is the reason why my husband died. My husband was a good man. And God listened, and then God listened, and He says, "Okay, have you finished?" And I'm like, "Yes." And people will be, "Well, how do you talk to God?" They were just thoughts, okay, like thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you finished crying? And I'm like, "Yes." And says, "Okay, I want you to repent. I've done a better job. I've become a better husband. What I do for you is better than what your husband used to provide." So, to be honest, that place is so painful. So I would rather go and ask him question first, other
Mm,
than him coming to with that hot fire to say, "I want you to repent." So that helped me. Answering your question, my middle name is Gift. My mom gave me Gift, and I don't like hopelessness. That's
mm,
one thing I don't like it. I don't care how bad the situation is. I want to still see hope. So in my small ways, even back before my husband died, we used to help people here and there back home, like widows who try out those people that we left in need. We use to do that, myself and my husband. And even here in our own small ways, we used to still help other people. But when my husband passed away from 2013, I had the desire to say, in fact, from asking God questions, the place of pain gonna turn into a door of hope, or the place of pain gonna turn into from pain to gain. Other version when the Bible says that, I had to ask God a question to say, what do you mean by gain? Which gain? So for gain for me personally, it was the working on my heart. But for gain for other people, then I had to ask to say, which people do you want me to reach out? Before my husband passed on, his passion was to reach out for children, like education. That's what he desired. He wanted to even to start an education foundation. That's what he desired. So I asked a God question, and for me, what came, what really I realized, which I can say now, we don't know the numbers of widows. They just
Mm.
give estimation. So if they don't know, these are, we are talking of like United Nations, World Health Organization. By 2015, it was just an estimation. So can you imagine now what is happening with COVID-19 and where we are? That means the numbers completely they are there, and it's every sector of society that has been affected. So the best to start reaching out to widows, it came after my husband. So the way I started doing it is I started just doing it like I would reach the need in general. So I use like during Easter, during December, I'll send clothes from here, food, I'll send money, and they'll have like, I am a person who loves to celebrate. I'll cry when it's time to cry. I'll celebrate when it's time to celebrate. So I would organize that they have something to eat. Those who need school fees, I also reached out. And so that was from 2013 to 2018. I used that. I partnered with a church in Malawi, Bishop Njaidi and his wife. So we used to do that. By 2018, no, 2017, I decided, I said, nah, a widow is not a weak person. A widow is a strong woman. Because one who has buried a husband, and I'm not saying that the other deaths are not like painful. They are all lost. In fact, whatever we lose in life, whether it is a dog, other people grieve for a dog, whether it's money, it's loss. And pain is subjective. So any other loss is loss. And how we respond, it depends on the person. But psychologists do argue to say the losing of a husband or a wife is one of the most stressful life event. That's why I hope this was before COVID-19. I don't know what they are saying now. So I decided to say, okay, a widow is a strong person. How can we reach out to? How can we empower a widow to become self-sustaining? So I started a social enterprise in Malawi
Mm.
where we identified 4 groups. So like we had 4 widows groups, and we
Mm.
had, in fact, each and every group was called Widows Opportunity, but we gave the people to give specific names depending on region. So they gave each other specific. So the first thing that we did, which is remarkable, I really want to thank God for that. You know, a widow, most of the time, she's like a destitute, a hopeless person, a helpless person. But we were able to change the mindset of a widow to say, you can do business. So we trained them the very first 6 months, we trained them. And the model that we followed, it was of Ruth and Naomi, where we put them in what I call here hope groups. So hope groups basically was where they meet and they share word of God together as widows. Of course, they had the overseer as pastors, so they used to do that. Then we introduced different people who came and taught them, and we started a grocery in Malawi to support the social enterprise. And then we gave the widows loans, and they started. I think this time around, because of our resources, we didn't give each and every widow money, but we gave the groups money to start businesses together. So they did that, they started business. And we also send money so that now the social enterprise should be able to support itself, so that we could engage in other businesses. So we did that between 2017 and 2018 up to 2019. And yeah, I think you asked me that question. I don't know if you want me to add anything
No, no,
there.
I know. Thank you so much. And if there's anyone watching us right now, um, Gertrude is talking about her missions to widows in Malawi that she's been supporting since 2013, right?
Yes,
And they have people, they have groups that they train, groups of widows. I also know a widows group in Nigeria as well, and I think probably one of them would be watching. One of the leaders from that group might be watching this, so it's something that you can connect with them and
yes,
just rub minds to see if there is any partnership that can go on there.
yes,
So, with the widows, I like what you said that, yeah, the widows are strong. It's not, you can still do something for yourself. And I love the fact that you want to empower them to stand on their own, not giving them fish all the time, but they should be able to get the fish for themselves, which is a fantastic thing to do. And I know you and I had this discussion about um, COVID, how it has affected the operations in
yes.
Malawi. I
Mm-hmm.
run a ministry, an organization here also in the United Kingdom that you know about. And I know what it takes to support people. Uh, sometimes you get text messages and you are so disturbed. You were really disturbed, and you look at the account of the ministry. You guys can't physically support them even when you want to. And I know that that's one of the things you're going through right now. Because of COVID, it's multiplied. So you need a lot of support, and you need a lot of people to come on board to support the work
Yes.
that you're doing. I know Christians quote the scripture of who you support widows and orphans, but how do you support them if you don't know any widow? At least you know organizations that are supporting widows. You can send your $10, £10, £20. You might think, I can't give £10. Why don't you give the £10? £10, how much is £10 in Malawi? How
10
much?
pounds, that's 10,000 Malawian kwacha, and it can buy a bag of maize 50 kg, and for now, maybe even two, because it's harvest season.
Can you imagine what your £10 would do? So please, I want to appeal to anyone who is listening to me right now. We need to support the work that this woman is doing in Malawi. And honestly, we have to. There's something she's going to share again. She started a business, her business for herself. And she said, part of my profits, this is what I'm going to be doing with my profits. It's my business. I own it, but I won't eat the profits alone. So I called her the Bill Gates of our time. The female Bill Gates. Yeah, yeah. You better connect with this woman. I'm glad I'm connected to you. Her own business, but she said, look, the profit of this is a business. This is not social enterprise, right? Your
No.
business is not social. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I will I will be socially responsible. I will use part of my profits for social mission. So I want you to share about that, because anyone who is listening to us, whether you're watching me now or you're going to watch us, listen to us later, please, you need to patronize her business, knowing that she's not going to use all the profits to go and get herself Versace bag. She is going to feed widows. And that's amazing. That 10 pounds can buy 50 kg of maize. And for a family of 5, how long will that last? For a family of 5?
For a family of 5, if they are okay, they have small things. You are talking of a month. That's a month. Yeah, it can last.
So 10 pounds. That means
Yeah.
if we give a family of 5, 20 pounds.
Yes. Yeah.
A month.
Yeah, if they have got small like sweet potatoes is there, yeah, a bag of maize can last a month.
Yeah, but if we give them 20 pounds, that means they can get a bag of maize, 50 kg, and they can get the remaining 10 pounds, they can use it to get
small
some
things.
other
Yes,
things.
definitely, yeah.
Man, if you're listening to me, 20 pounds. Commit me, I have to commit that 20 pounds a month at least. Let me feed one family.
Thank you so much, woman of God. God
I
bless.
need to commit. If it's 20, even if it's 20 pounds, God will help me. I will do more families, even if it's 20 pounds a month, knowing that that can feed a family.
Yes.
Wow.
It can, yeah.
Wow. Now tell us about your business, because everyone listening must be able to support you. Come on, 20 pounds a month, even 10 pounds a month.
In fact, 10 pounds, even it can do much more. Even as little as 5 pounds, it can do more. Even as little as a pound can do more, because this time around, as the woman of God has said, we are not operating because of COVID-19. However, we are joining hands with a church here in the UK, but also a church in Malawi. You remember I introduced myself, I'm a conduit of hope. So I've connected with these 2 churches, but I'm also linking up with Esther Company, which the woman of God is leading. So what we want now is not even complicated. I want us to start a food bank, and it's out of that food bank where we are going to set up things like social enterprise, nurseries, and all the things that God has revealed to us. So every little help, even as little as 1 pound, it will make a difference. But for Matchless Prudence was also a revelation that is connected to Hosea 2 verse 15. The place of pain, God gonna turn it into a doorway of hope. So matchless, that's God. God is a matchless because his wisdom, his love, his support, his kindness is matchless. And Prudence, he is the prudent one because he took what was my pain and my children, and his goodness marinated it. Because one thing that I want, if you can remember anything, every pain has got a purpose. Don't throw out your pain. If anything, surrender it to God, because that's what he did. So out of that, the Matchless Prudence, we have got an online shop where we design our own t-shirt. In fact, we have designed one for Easter Company, but they are delaying to deliver them. We thought we were going to show you. So we designed t-shirts because last year when I was praying, God, has the end come for COVID-19? I had to say, no, the end hasn't come. I want you to address the nation in hope. And I asked to say how. So he gave me the idea. I write poems as well. So out of the poems, we pick up small quotations and create t-shirts. Picture frames. I don't know whether you can see the picture frame at the back. We created that picture ourselves, and we create mugs. And we want to believe that there are still small things that we are going to create. Our hope is to be able even to decorate the whole house with our own products. But the prophets, we are not going to eat all of the prophets. We have linked up with 2 groups. One is the Esther Company that sister, the woman of God, Pastor Ola, is leading. The prophet that we're gonna have monthly, we're gonna distribute between Esther Company and Widows Opportunity Malawi. Why have we chosen Esther Company? what Esther Company resonates with us. It resonates with us because they also give hope to women and groups of people here in Scotland who are disadvantaged. So for us, anything that has got to do with hope, we are going to run into there. So that's why we are going to take, and it's also a way of reaching out. We are here based in Scotland. Esther Company is based in Scotland. So we are reaching out to the community where we are based. But we are also giving some profits to charity, Widows Opportunity in Malawi.
Wow, thank you so much. You know, when you told me you asked me actually, you said, woman of God, I hope you don't mind our profits, the profits we make from my business. I hope you don't mind if we give a part to the Estes company. I was like, no, I don't. But, but I didn't want to quickly answer you, so I took my time. I took my time. Then I quickly, then I quickly sent a message to Ruth, or I called Ruth. I can't even remember. I said, Ruth, this is what Minister, this is what Minister Gertrude
Gertrude.
just told me. You know, and she was like, oh my God, this is God, you know, Ruth. My charger, let me quickly charge my laptop before it gives way. Sorry about that. The cable was lying on the floor. I thought it was plugged in, but it wasn't. So Ruth was like, wow, this is fantastic. This is a good one, you know. And then I sent you, I said, wow, I appreciate this because sincerely, people give to the Estes company, but no one has ever told us that, look, the profits we make from our business, whether it's a tenner or 20, there's a percentage that will be given to you on a monthly basis. So we see it as God saying, well done to us. Even if it's a pound, even if it's 50 cents that you give to us, we see it as God saying well done. And we do appreciate it. Thank you so much for even considering us. Thank you so much. And I resonate with what you're doing, that you're helping, you're giving hope to disadvantaged people like the widows. And I pray that the Lord is going to touch the heart of everyone who is listening to us to be a part of what you're doing. And thank you for giving us the opportunity that even our £1 can go a long way. We want to partner with people who are helping other people, because when we give to people, we are just saying to them, God remembers you. That's the message. It's a message of hope. I was sharing with you earlier about the charity that Ruth, no, if you hear me talk about Ruth, I'm not referring to the Ruth in the Bible. I have a Ruth. God gave me a Ruth. Ruth is one of the directors in the Estes company, and she just did a challenge, you know, a fundraising for a charity also who help they help children who would rather go to bed hungry, but because of the support of this charity, they can have food to eat and they pay their school fees sometimes. And Ruth was able to raise a lot of money for them. And I salute her for taking that bold step. And you know, that we did that. I say we because anything Ruth is doing, I'm part of it. We are a community and a family, you know. So we don't run alone, we run together as a group. So we did that. We were able to do that together, and God came through for us. And for you to come and say to us, look, whatever I make is just God saying, look, I would exceed your expectations. And I know that as you've made that commitment, God is going to surprise you. We shall be praying for you that the profit shall double, so that You know what? Traffic doubles to double for us as well. So please, I want you to tell us, how can people connect with you in case, not that in case, because they would want to give. How can they connect with you? Where can they reach you? I know if you reach me, if you reach me, I'm going to reach out, but I want them to connect with you because you write beautiful poems. You have blogs. Ooh, this woman of God is on fire. She has blogs. God has turned her pain into purpose. And if you know anybody, any widow at all, and you feel I don't even have the right words to tell her, please get in touch with Gertrude. Connect them. Let her be an encourager because she's indeed an encourager. Let her be able to encourage such women. So, woman of God, how can our viewers reach you? Where can they get you? I know you're on social media. Let's not talk about that social media.
Okay. If people want to find me, we have got a website, matchlessprudence.com, which they can go and see some of the products that we have. And if, for argument's sake, you have got something that you want us to create, a favorite vase, a favorite exploration, we can create that for you. But also, if you want us, because one thing that I do is I use poetry. We use poetry. In fact, you use emotions to write poetry. So it's a good thing for healing. If you are broken, if you stress, depression. So I can write poem for your event, whatever event you're doing. We have got a team, myself, we can write poem for you. We can come and say the poem for you. You can ask us to say, this is the poem that I'm looking for. So we can write that poem for you. No, me, I just want a small expression. We can design that. We would design together. We'll ask you to say, is this what you want to us to design? So if you go on the website, my number is there. But you can also link up with me. I do a matchless poetic makeover, which is basically to promote mental health after loss. So that one is for everyone, young or old, male or female. So you can get me there. On my website, there is also a section of blog, which as I said, you can see a system. And let me take this opportunity before I hand over to the woman of God. Whether you are a Christian or you are not a Christian, what happens in our life is we are there as a human being, but we have got a system around us that helps us in our daily tasks, whether it's jobs, whether it's marriage, whether it's a ministry. So when bad things happen, it's the system that is around you that is affected. If I can talk about Christian terms, it's like in the Bible. One widow died, the husband died, her children were about to be taken away. She was in great debt, she was bitter, she was everything. So all her system is affected. Yeah. So even when you are not a Christian, your system of coping, of doing things is affected. So for me, if you see the story that I've shared here, God gave me a system. I'm not as organized as you might think, but God gave me a system where out of poetry, there's the element of business there, there's the element of charity there. And if you're coming to Glasgow, which the woman of God maybe, she forgot. I also run like a safe catering holiday accommodation. It's a 3-bedroom house. If you are coming for a family, in fact, woman of God, if Easter company is planning to have, a girls' weekend away, my property
Ooh,
is, yes, my property is a very good place. It's quiet, so you can see
Ruth,
that's the
can you hear
advantage.
that?
Yes,
And it's a
you can.
3 bedroom, so six of
Yes,
us,
you
two in
can
a
see.
room.
Behind it, there's a sun lounge. You can have a barbecue. So that's one business that I do. But I couldn't
Wow.
do all that if God was not the center of my
Wow. Wow. We'll talk about that girls get away because we need to really get away, honestly.
life.
Yeah, we need to. Ruth is going to get in touch. We'll plan it. We need to.
Okay.
It's something we need to think about. We planned something, I think last year or 2 years, no, 2 years ago, but we just didn't get around to doing it. So we'll plan something maybe for next year, early next year. Okay, woman of God, that's us. We've had a fantastic time. It's been fun talking to you. Your smile lights up the room. Thank you so, so much. Thank you very much. And everyone, you've heard how you can connect with Gertrude, and it's Matchless Prudence
.com.
dot com. Yes, you can get in touch with her. And if you're still struggling to get in touch with her, once you get in touch with me, yes, I will direct you to her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My girls are here. The gateway is essential. The getaway is essential. Yes, those are the people that are going to get away with me anyway. So, oh, supporting widow is a privilege. So please
Thank you
let's
so much.
support what Gertrude is doing, and let's ensure that we keep in touch with her. She has told us £10 will go a long way. We'll buy 50 kg of maize
Yes.
for a family in Malawi that will last them for a month, and £20 will feed them.
Yes.
Guys, we are talking about a family of 5. So a family of 3, it might last them a month and a half.
Yeah.
So please, 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 let's do something about this. I need to speak to. Let's do something. Let's do something. Woman of God, we'll talk off camera later and plan what we can do on a consistent basis. If we can also partner. I know we are partnering with a lot, but God will enable us. God will
Amen.
enable us. So thank you
Amen.
everyone for joining. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do. Next week, I'm going to be coming on with another amazing guest whose passion is for teenagers. My God, I've got them in different shapes and forms. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Yes, you
So
are.
I'm so blessed. I tell you, I've got all
Yeah.
these people around me who are doing amazing things. You don't want to miss next week, Saturday. This man of God has an amazing ministry for teenagers. You want to be here. If you don't have teenagers as children, your children will still be teenagers, or your nieces and nephews are teenagers. Just come on and learn from this man of God. Okay, woman of God, let's leave our guests and viewers today. We'll see you same time next week. God bless you and have a lovely evening. Bye.